Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. We have some news and quite a bit of it today, so let's get to it. The very first thing I want to show you guys are a few new images from Memory Museum of quite a few of their upcoming products. And the very first one is actually a Baiji, and this is a now thought to be extinct version of a dolphin, which I believe is like a river dolphin, which is really cool. And I'm glad that Memory Museum has chosen to give this species a model because it's something that I don't often see from any company. It's kind of a very overlooked version of a dolphin, and it is definitely nice to see it get some recognition here from Memory Museum. And you can see that as per usual with pretty much every single model that Memory Museum releases. It is just gorgeous, beautiful paintwork on the model. Really nice gloss coat seems to be added, giving it an extremely realistic look. And I love the fact that it's caught a fish there in its mouth and a really nice looking base as well. All of which are pretty much the standard when it comes to Memory Museum models, as they always deliver super nice, really high quality pieces. If you've watched my recent Carnotaurus review from Memory Museum, you'll definitely have a pretty good idea of the high quality feel of their products. But the next one is actually a sperm whale, and it is also incredible. I absolutely love the look of this sperm whale model, and another really cool species chosen to be part of the Memory Museum line. And one thing that again is awesome about the Memory Museum line is that all of the species are to scale with each other in 1/15th scale. So it's awesome that you'll be able to have each one of these species, whether it's a current living animal or an extinct prehistoric animal, it does not really matter because they all size up to each other correctly. And I also really like the water looking base of the sperm whale that is included, but sculpt wise this thing is phenomenal. Paint wise it looks really good as well. When you see this image here, you can get a good idea of what the entire model looks like, but also a good idea of the insanely large size of this sperm whale. That thing is huge in comparison to some of the other models that you see there with it, as quite a few of these we've actually reviewed previously, but most recently the Carnotaurus there to the right of the sperm whale. And again, the Carnotaurus is super tiny in comparison to that sperm whale. But then there to the left of the sperm whale, you can actually see a nice glimpse of the upcoming Bahatasaurus, and we have a few new images of that as well. And you can see right here how insanely beautiful this is. I love the fact that Memory Museum has chosen to create a Bahatasaurus. It's such a new species, and it's really interesting to see one get such a beautiful model so quickly. And I think that Memory Museum has absolutely nailed this species in every way when it comes to both sculpt and paint. Gorgeous looking paintwork on this. I really love the colors that they've chosen. It's a very realistic and natural coloration, but at the same time really quite flashy overall. And I do believe the Bahatasaurus is the next release coming from Memory Museum, so I am quite psyched to see that one get a release very soon. But as you can tell, lots of really exciting stuff coming from Memory Museum in the extremely near future. And with everything being to scale with each other, this is definitely one of the most exciting companies out there currently. And then we have a really cool new look at the upcoming Mesozoic Life Spinosaurus model that they are creating. You can see it is in 1/64th scale, which is the prototype that we are currently looking at. Beautiful for sure. This is definitely one of the nicest looking Spinosaurus models that I think I've ever seen. I really love the overall appearance to the model. Really cool looking bipedal pose for the figure as a whole, and I really like the skin texture. The skin texture just looks extremely cool, but really realistic overall, and definitely something that I am extremely excited about. And the eventual release of this model will definitely be one that I am highly anticipating and something I fully intend on picking up and reviewing for you guys. And then as far as Rebor goes, they have announced and included an image of part of the body of a Saurophaganax, which they are going to be releasing. However, there is a lot ahead of it, so we likely won't see this one for quite some time, but a really cool looking model overall. I am quite psyched to see that they are finally going to be creating some more random dinosaur species like this. I feel like initially they had started out with some pretty decent species, making a Eutyrannus and then a Ceratosaurus and stuff like that. Then they kind of went off course with creating a lot more like movie monster style dinosaurs and stuff like that. But it is cool to see them choosing a species like a Saurophaganax and creating a model of that. Really something that I am quite excited about. I think the sculpt looks almost dragon-like, I would say, but a pretty cool looking version of the species, and I am pretty darn excited overall to see the full reveal of the body of the figure. And then as far as Wild Past goes, we have a look here at some of their test samples of their upcoming Tethyshadros model, and you can see a ton of them included right here. But to give you a good idea overall of what this upcoming Tethyshadros model will look like, we actually have an image here that was supplied by Wild Past, taking a look at it next to their Protoceratops, which was their initial release, and you can just see a huge difference in the overall texturing of the body between the Protoceratops and this incredible looking Tethyshadros. Overall, Wild Past shows some drastic improvement here as far as the actual detailing aspect of their figures, which the detailing of the original Protoceratops I actually thought was really quite nice and is definitely a really nice figure overall, one that I really recommend anybody interested in picking up. But this Tethyshadros looks to be incredible for sure, and definitely yet another of the many figures that are on the way to us that I am extremely excited about. But I am just generally happy to see a second release coming from Wild Past sometime in the very near future. And then if you can recall, Rodrigo Rivas, who I have previously promoted a little information on his work that he has done. He is actually the person that I had told you guys about a little while ago, creating some really cool custom Kenner T-Rex arms. He is creating actual full-body dinosaurs as well, mostly younger baby dinosaurs. As you can see right here, this baby Carnotaurus is absolutely beautiful in every way, something that I would love to get a hold of, being a huge fan of Carnotaurus. Of course, this instantly tugs at my heartstrings and really makes me want to get a hold of it, but he actually has quite a few other models currently available to purchase as well, that you could see many different species right here, including a baby Spinosaurus. So on top of the T-Rex arms for the Kenner figures, he has a plethora, it seems, of other species included in his line of models that he has created. And actually he has compies as well, which I recently painted up for a friend of mine, and I will have a video coming on the channel of those. But again, really nice work on the part of Rodrigo Rivas. So if these are something that you would consider purchasing or would like to purchase, I will include a link in the description to where you can contact Rodrigo Rivas on Facebook, or you can contact me and I will contact him for you if you do not have social media. And then as far as PNSO goes, we have a look at their Sinoceratops, which actually is already available to purchase on Dan's Dinosaurs, and you can see it looks beautiful, just like I expected. Really nice green colors on this. Definitely another of the many ceratopsians that PNSO has released that I am very excited about receiving. Mine is currently on its way to me, so once this arrives, I will absolutely have a review up immediately for you guys. But actually, speaking of PNSO, they recently had unveiled a figure at a fair in China that I'm really intrigued to see if this is something that sees the light of day as far as figures go. We could see a really beautiful mammoth here, and it is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and potentially the best that I've ever seen from any company yet. And again, the detail on this, especially as far as the fur, is like next level. So I am keeping my fingers crossed that this is actually something that they will be releasing at some point in the near future, because I would really want to get a hold of this one. And then in even more PNSO news, they just unveiled, actually Everything Dinosaur just unveiled their Maragaya, and wow, this is probably the flashiest, most insanely cool version of a Maragaya that I've ever seen. Such an incredible looking model overall, and a little bit of artistic liberties seem to have been taken with this potentially, but such an insanely beautiful figure. The overall appearance is so striking and so beautiful. It's probably the coolest looking Maragaya that I've ever seen, and again, another figure that I 1000% intend on reviewing here on the channel once it actually arrives. But this thing is just incredible looking, if you ask me, and quite possibly might be my new favorite from PNSO once it arrives. And then as far as Creative Beast Studio and the Beast of the Mesozoic line, we have a look here at one of the prototypes of the upcoming Tyrannosaur series. This is the Bistahyeversur, and this looks insanely beautiful. I am probably too excited about this Tyrannosaur line at this point, especially after reviewing so many of the recent Ceratopsian series. I am unbelievably psyched about the upcoming Tyrannosaur series. Again, looking at this model, it is detailed to the max, and the articulation looks beautiful and really nicely hidden for the most part, which is one of the very exciting aspects to me. It's not like with the Raptor series where the articulation was kind of noticeable. I mean, we can't lie, the articulation was definitely something you could pick up on pretty easily as far as the areas of articulation, but I feel like as far as this Tyrannosaur goes, this Pasthethyshadros, the seams of articulation are really nicely hidden for the most part, so that shows again how well David Silva is improving overall, but just how unbelievable this Tyrannosaur line is absolutely going to be. And he also unveiled a new paint scheme on us, and that would be the Daspletosaurus, which you can see right here. Beautiful tones of color included again. I'm really psyched to see these actually show up on the prototypes to see what the figure itself will actually look like, because sometimes the actual paint job on the figure does differ slightly from the art that it is based on, so I'm really interested to see what the paint scheme will look like on the factory released version, or even at least on the prototype. But right here in this art image, it looks gorgeous for sure. And then as far as Nanmu goes, we have had a new unveiling of an upcoming figure from them, and it could be one of the most anticipated figures coming from Nanmu potentially ever. This is their V-Rex, and wow, this thing is gorgeous. If you are a fan of the King Kong, the Peter Jackson King Kong film, I would say without question that this V-Rex is a must-own, because this thing is just insanely beautiful overall. The sculpt and detail on this is fantastic, but just the general appearance of this model is so beautiful. And then you have that insanely cool base down there, which I love that Nanmu is starting to incorporate bases with their figures more often. I don't know if that's going to be in every release, or the base is just going to be a deluxe thing like we have with the current Giganotosaurus that we'll be releasing from Nanmu very soon, but man, this thing is just insanely nice. The only thing that they really need to correct on it is the shape of the tail there at the tip is the only thing that's really missing, and I feel like Nanmu will probably fix that before the release, but even if they don't, this thing is just gorgeous in every way, and another extremely nice looking release coming from Nanmu as always. And then as far as Iron Studios goes, they have officially unveiled 2 new statues for their Jurassic Park line, and honestly I'm not a huge fan of either of them, which is kind of shocking. One is the final scene, as they are calling it, which is quite clearly the scene at the end of Jurassic Park where the Raptors are about to attack and kill Alan, Ellie, and the kids, but the Rex kind of breaks through and takes down the Raptors and saves them, and honestly, it's not really that nicely done. I feel like the human characters, the overall appearance of them look really off, especially Alan. When you can see Alan's face, I don't think he looks very good. Even the sculpting of the Raptors themselves do not look like Jurassic Park Raptors, if you ask me. Their heads just look really off overall, and I feel like the Tyrannosaur as well doesn't really look all that much like Rexy or Roberta. I mean, in certain lights it does. You have certain shots here that make it look actually a good bit like the Tyrannosaur did in Jurassic Park, but in certain shots at the same time it doesn't really look that great. I think it just kind of depends on the light that we have on the Tyrannosaur as to whether or not it looks like it or not, because then you have this shot from the front of the Rex, and I think it looks phenomenal right here. The Raptors definitely still look off, as do the human characters, but the Rex itself looks really good right there. But then other shots make me think not so much, so I'm not too sure about the Rex. The Rex looks pretty good. The Raptor's not really that great. The human character's not really that great, but overall it is still a really cool statue and something that I think a lot of people will be really excited about. And I do appreciate the fact that Iron Studios is thinking outside the box as far as Jurassic Park collectibles go, and I am definitely a fan of the overall idea behind this. You also have actually a Clever Girl statue coming with the Velociraptor and of course Robert Muldoon, and again the Raptor I think it looks a little better here than it did in the final scene model did, but overall, again, I don't think that the actual sculpt looks that great. I don't think it looks all that much like the Jurassic Park Velociraptor does. I think Robert Muldoon actually looks excellent. He looks much better than the human characters did in the final scene version of the models, but the Raptor itself, sculpt-wise, I don't really think it looks all that much like a Jurassic Park Raptor. I mean, it definitely has very strong similarities, but the head sculpt again looks off to me. I don't know why, as previously it felt like the Iron Studios Raptors were picture perfect, but these newer ones Definitely not quite as nice as the older ones were, but yet again, another really cool idea on the part of Iron Studios, and I can always appreciate them creating something unique and something different than most other companies are producing, and overall, it looks really cool and is definitely a Jurassic Park collectible I'm sure many people will want to own. Just again, a few minor issues like the sculpt of the Raptor, but still really cool regardless. And then if you can recall, Alex Kendrick, I had promoted a Raptor bust that he was creating, a Velociraptor Blue Raptor bust that they are intending on selling. You can see that they are currently in the painting process of the Raptor busts with some very beautiful looking Velociraptor Blue colors on it. Of course, it's not completely finished. As you can see, the mouth is not painted, neither are the eyes, but overall, I think it's coming along really nicely, and with such a small number as far as the limited edition number goes, if this is something you are interested in, just like I had stated previously when I had spoken of this, make sure you contact Alex Kendrick immediately to inquire further about purchasing one of these beautiful Velociraptor busts before they are gone and they are unable to be purchased anymore. So, like usual, if you are interested, make sure you head to the description, as I will have a link to Alex Kendrick on Facebook where you can contact him to inquire further, or you can contact me and I will contact him for you. And then, in something that I think is really cool, Mother of the Dinosaurs is creating some beautiful baby dinosaurs that are currently for sale, and I think each and every one looks incredible, and there are quite a few species here included with beautiful sculpts and paint on all. You can see they have a Parasaurolophus right here looking extremely adorable. Then there is actually a baby Velociraptor, kind of a Jurassic Park style Velociraptor, I will say, with this one, as well as a baby Dilophosaurus, which looks really cool, pretty chubby looking Dilophosaurus, but adorable nonetheless. Then potentially my favorite with this really nice looking baby Tyrannosaurus Rex right here. I think that one, sculpt-wise, is just phenomenal. You also have an Ankylosaurus, which is really up there on my list of favorites as far as these go as well. Beautiful paint on that one also. And then you have a Brachiosaurus, which is insanely adorable. Potentially the cutest out of all of them, I think, is this Brachiosaurus with his overly large head. He's just super cute. And then the one that is kind of battling back and forth for me as far as my favorite with the Rex goes, the Carnotaurus, of course, being my favorite dinosaur of all time. I really like the Carnotaurus, and I think that one is phenomenal as well. Then you have a Triceratops, which also is one of my favorites because this Triceratops looks great. I really like both the paint and sculpt on that one. And then the final is a Stegosaurus, which also is really beautiful, and right up there again as far as leading the charge of my favorites. There's just so many to pick from and so many beautiful models to pick from. It's really hard to choose a favorite, honestly, but each one is incredibly nice. So if these are something that you are interested in picking up, I will include a link in the description to Mother of Dinosaurs on Instagram, where you can contact them to inquire further about picking these up, or you can, as usual, contact me if you do not have social media, and I will contact them for you. And the final thing I have for you guys is from Mattel, and thanks to Collect Jurassic for this information, but the Camp Cretaceous Ceratosaurus Clash set has recently started to show up in Ross stores throughout the United States. So if you happen to have a Ross near you, you can head on over there and check it out. Maybe you'll actually have some luck and find this, as not every Ross is getting them in. I've recently checked out my local Ross and it did not have them, and I've heard from quite a few others that checked theirs that they also did not have them, but certain Rosses are getting them, so it definitely would not hurt checking your local Ross to see if they have them in stock, especially with the rarity of this set, because it really was released very briefly here on Walmart.com in the United States, and I haven't seen much of anything else from it since. So if you are in need of this set, make sure you head to your local Ross, and hopefully you'll find one for yourself. So as of right now, guys, that's all the news I've got, which was quite a bit, but when more comes out, I'll be sure to send it your way. So until then, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.